Okay, now that we have our car drivable, it's time to add some obstacles and then add a scoring system. So to add an obstacle, we're going to do the same thing we did for the car on the road. I'm going to right click over here in the hierarchy, go down to 3D object and cube. And then I'm going to position it just up here on the road. It looks like I might need to resize a little. I need to be able to drive my car around it, so my cube looks to be a little too big. So I'm going to go here to my scale tool, make it a little bit narrower. There, that looks good. And then I can verify, yeah, that looks good. So now I have a cube for my obstacle. I'm going to, just like we did with the road and the car, I'm going to right click on cube and I'm going to rename it, and I'll call it obstacle. And then I'm going to do one more thing. I'm going to add a material for it, and I'm going to make this material blue. So down in your assets, go to right click, create, go down to material again, and you can make it whatever color you want to. I'm going to make mine blue. And then drag that to the obstacle. Now we're going to want lots and lots and lots of obstacles, and it would be a pain if I had to recreate those over and over and over again. So what I'm going to do is now take this obstacle and drag it down into my assets, and what this does is it creates what's called a prefab. I can then delete it from my scene up here, and I see that I still have it down in the assets. Anytime I want to add an obstacle, all I have to do is just drag it into my hierarchy, and there's one obstacle. I could drag it again and again and again. I'm not going to do that yet because there's a couple more things I'm going to want to do to my obstacle. But once I have the obstacle completely set up, then I can start adding as many as I want to in the scene and reposition them. So that's much faster than creating 50 different obstacles. But before we do that, let's go ahead and add our score system as well. So I'm going to right click here in the hierarchy again, and this time go down to UI, user interface, UI, and I'm going to go down and use the legacy version. So I'm going to go down to legacy and add text. Now you can kind of see the outline of our text area. What this has done is created a canvas, and I'm going to, while this is highlighted, I'm going to go ahead and rename my text score because that's what's going to be placed in the text box. If I zoom way out and keep zooming and zooming, there we go. This is what you actually see. If I switch over to the game window, you can see down here new text. So what this has done is created a canvas that fills the entire window, and right now the text box is placed down here. I don't want it down there. I actually want mine over here in the top right hand corner, and I'm going to zoom in a bit to see that a little bit easier. Our score is going to start at 100, so I'm going to come over here to the properties for my text box, and you can see under text right here I have new text. I'm going to replace that with 100, and now I know about what size or how much area it's going to take up. So I'm going to come on here, I'm going to increase this like to 40, but notice how my text disappeared. That's because my text box is now too small to show it. So I need to come down here to the rectangle tool, not the scale tool, but the rectangle tool, and I need to resize my rectangle so that the 100 actually fits. That looks pretty good. And then I'll reposition it again so it's close to the edge. I am also going to change the color of mine because in the end what I'm going to do is change this to like a dark mode, a night scene where we have headlights on our car, and that black text is not going to show up when we get to that step. So I'm going to go ahead and change the color of my text now to white. You could also do something like yellow or red or anything else that would show up well on black. So there we go. So now we have our canvas with our text box. If you want to get back down to actually see the car, a quick easy way instead of doing all the scrolling, come over here, click on car in your hierarchy, and then hit F on your keyboard, and you might have to hit it a couple times. There we go, and it will focus on the car and take you back into this view. But notice how my camera is positioned between the car and what I'm seeing. If I zoom in some, There we go, that gets rid of the camera. But if I actually want to leave the camera there and I want my view more like this, that'd be kind of a pain to deal with. What I can do to fix that is come up here to this little icon up here in the top right hand corner and click the little drop down. And 3D icons, this controls the size of those 3D icons. So if you want to, or if you need to, you can resize the size of that icon so that it is not in the way. So that is good for this video. What we're going to be doing next in the next video is adding a script now to our obstacle and a script to our canvas to control the scoring and to take points off if we hit obstacles.